All right, folks, greetings from the workshop. It is the weekend, so time for another video. Now, we've done a few on what not to do, and the reason I'm pointing at this pile of handlebar switches and other wiring is another video on what not to do. So, quite often we find ourselves with this sort of thing going on. Handlebar switches, by the way, those are all date stamped. So if you're going to do a numbers matching bike, you better make sure you have the right handlebar switches on there. They do have a 3-digit date code. But we often run into stuff like this where it's just been modified either tastefully or well, or more often than not really badly, resulting in a box full of yuck like that, or just innards laying around like this that have no bodies to connect to, where somebody's sort of given up on the project, and everywhere in between. Now, what I wanted to show you is today's candidate for worst wiring of the week. Somebody has had a crack at trying to refurbish this particular right-hand handlebar switch, and obviously not done a great job. And what we found out was the wiring has shorted out. There are numerous dead and awful connections made with the wrong color wire, and just random splices which go nowhere like that, which is again the wrong color wire. But you can see also where it's completely shorted out, melted through the insulation. What clearly has happened is somebody's had an issue in here, thought, oh, it's only screws and bolts, I can do that. Look, a couple of screws there. Bob's your uncle with a bit of a soldering iron jobby that I bought from J-Car or the local hobby shop. I'll jam a bit of black tape in there against the wiring clamp and everything will be fine. Well, clearly everything is not fine. You can see the quality or lack thereof of soldering on this. That wire is basically just falling off. In fact, I'll probably just wiggle it off now, given how awful it is. You can see the whole switch. There you go. That's how well that was soldered on. As in, not at all. Truly awful. Now, the reason I point this out is these are infinitely recyclable unless they're broken in an accident. There is no reason to throw these out and replace them with reproduction. Sure, it's a little more hard work to do it properly, but it can be done. So let me give you a quick example. This is one that we're doing for a customer. That's the instrument shell. So again, that's the your horn and pass, the hazard switch. This is the left-hand handlebar control. So that's been blasted back to bare metal, painted in a shiny satin, gloss black, which is in fact wrong, it should be shiny, in a satin black. We'll fix that. And then this is the original wiring. So you can see there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. A little bit of dirt, give it a good clean, put some contact cleaner on the switch here. These often go bad. So we test all of that before it goes out. This one I think is probably going bad. We check the wiring down here. That looks a bit suspect, so we'll probably end up resoldering that. Everything is neatly labeled on the end. Obviously needs a little bit of a clean. But you can see it's a serviceable piece of wiring that's original to a bike. In this case, it's a 79 Mark II. All of the innards have been carefully disassembled. They're labeled, tagged, and bagged in here. So that's all the guts that go in there. That's your hazard switch, light switch for high-low beam, on, off, and pass, and all of the inner gubbins that hold it in place. There's absolutely no reason it can't be done properly. I mean, other than that, there's sort of a DIY test which came out wrong. When they're all done, here's two I prepared earlier. This is on a Mark II as well. You can see they go back on. They're original to the bike. These are correctly date stamped on the inside. You can't see them with the handlebar grips on there, but they are date stamped 79. Same thing on that side. We chose to go blacked out on this, but these would have yellow markings in there and white in the middle. Same for start and on the top there as well. So we've done a bunch of these internally, basically sandblasted these, got them back to bare metal, refurbished the whole thing, and then reinstated the whole wiring. As you know, I'm a big fan of that. they're just correct for the bike. So this is what this particular bike was delivered with, was this switch block, that switch block, and the original wiring harness. So part of what we end up doing is taking, well, these are all pretty much 650 wiring harnesses. We take all of the rubbish that's been grafted on over the years, numerous instances where you've got cracked or missing block connectors, things have been cut for some reason, just other things have fallen apart or been chopped off, very common with the indicators, or like this, the plastic for the 6-pin connector has just degraded over time. That's all that is, it's just a plastic block that's degraded. You can buy these blocks brand new, so we'll replace anything like this, just depin it, replace it with a brand new 6-pin connector, an OE style connector, and bring these harnesses back to new. Very common example of just horrible bullet connectors all over the place, really old school stuff. This was probably done in the 70s or 80s, probably early 80s I'm guessing, by somebody who clearly got some life out of it, but that all needs to be gone and replaced with these factory connectors, which you can all still already get, or rather you can still get, not already get. We do have some worse than others, so some of these harnesses are in quite bad condition when they come in. Some can be revived, like this. Again, that's just a brittle 4-block connector. These are readily available. Some of them are in much worse condition, and we'll salvage them or keep them as references for future bikes. You can see that's all bullet connectors that's been chopped off. So I just wanted to give you an idea of the sorts of stuff we go through when we're doing refurbishment here. Again, we get this horribleness coming through the door. This is another project over here and another project over here that's just come in. Can you believe the shop? We only moved in April. But this is where we're starting from. So all of these sorts of things, these are all original, have been cleaned. These are all of the housings down here. These are aftermarkets that we use for things like the levers here, which are unavailable. So it seems silly to dismantle one of these to repair an old one, but that's the way we choose to do it. And what ends up happening is we take all of this rusty gold and crusty contacts and stuff like that, we resolder everything, and what looks like garbage and catches fire turns into that in the midpoint, and then gets restored to lovely shining new old stock, essentially, handlebar controls. So there you go, that's a little update for you. If you're interested in seeing more videos like this where it's sort of behind the scenes type workings, let us know. Otherwise, stay tuned for a quick update on this. This is a brand new project that's just come in. A little bit more than a quick update on this one. There is a bit in here. And then obviously what's going on around the shop and all of the good stuff that's going to be happening this weekend. Cheers everybody, catch you in the next vid.